Well, hello there.
Hello.
To a Tuesday stream. What?
Yeah.
This feels illegal.
Unusual. Yeah.
This
how
is
dare we?
unusual. This is unusual. This is the super top secret stream that no one knows about. So if you're here, you're cool. Welcome.
Yeah.
Top secret
Cool
stream.
Kids Club. Cool Kids Club.
Cool Kids Club. If you're
Yeah,
in the know,
yeah.
you're in the know. But what we're doing today is a little bit of an intro to what will eventually become Calasindir's road to insanity. That is politics. When we get more to Ariel Keep. But before we get to Ariel Keep, we got to deal with the courts in Britain. As we saw on the 11th of Yarendar, Calasindir spent most of the day in the Britain courts. As ever attends court, there is many ambassadors strewn around. This is Calasindir's real debut as an ambassador for the Starless. Some people have seen it. Some people have known of the Starless that are in the kingdom now, but no one has officially met the ambassador. So, on the morning of the 11th, as the sun is rising lazily over the beautiful marbled bridge of Birten, nobles and highborn alike come to assemble within the courts of Birten. As you get yourself ready for the morning, making your way down to the Grand Hall where you once were part of the responsibility that Everard's father, King Anethor Turendir, the good king to unite Morabir and Birten, slain by your old hands. There's eyes upon you before you even attend, as various nobility is getting brought through. It appears to be it's not so much an important day of announcements or gathering. Everett appears to have few announcements, but the politics that are going on are already starting to seem apparent as people get announced as they walk in. It's not a very formal lunch affair. It's more just people strewn around getting official talks going in the eyes of the courts. As you get brought through, there is a scrawny young boy with a list of names on parchment. As you come to the precipice, the boundary into the room, he announces, "Presenting Prince Calasindir Thalcalzia, Ambassador of the Starless." And everyone, like your first day at school as the new kid, turns their head and instantly clocks you.
Yeah. Calasindir, I would say, very much just eyes forward. I imagine there's a bit of like a gap where Everett is watching over.
Yes, he's up on the throne.
And everything. Yeah. Calasindir very much focusing them out, just going with the court etiquette of walking up to Everett, giving him a formal bow before sort of moving over to one side and waiting for the announcements of all entering people to finish. Very much playing it carefully. And trying to go with what his understanding of the general court etiquette, at least for the Starless, is. I would say as well, like he would absolutely be wearing his Irizilix armor, emblazoned with the Thalcalzia family crest and sigils on it. Making sure to have cleaned it and wearing his robes over the top. Just trying to present very formally and dignified. And trying to go for the right impression.
Okay. So, a few names come through as you start to take your position, standing, hands folded. You hear introducing Vorad of the Bellerin tribes of Goliath as this big hulking man. Goliath, tribal tattoos and deep black and brown tattooed over his head in heavy furs that are probably a little bit too warm for this climate, but it's getting close to winter. It's the end of fall. He stands about 6'6", smaller on the Goliath side, but very stout. There's a lot of compact muscle on him. And he walks through and he gives a deep bow and takes his place. So that is Vorad. If you want to make a note, Vaurad.
V-A-U.
Vorad.
From the Bellerin Goliath tribes.
The Bellerin Goliath tribes, yes. as
Perfect.
more names get through, people strewn through of Sathasa, people. Thank you for the tip of $1 at the end of stream.
Oh,
Chill
thank
harder.
you.
I'll try. So as people more walk through, you hear names of a young tiefling boy actually who you see comes through, and you hear the young Prince Arakos Rindle from Rindleton. Very very light shade of blue, almost so pale it's a grey, but walks through. He's got a very similar kind of like lapel with the brindle symbol of the horse, the knighted lanced up armor of his forebears. The hair is a light shade of silver as well, and it's braided down one side, coming down into a loose ponytail.
I love that.
Arakos.
If you had described him as being gold-skinned or a shade of gold-skinned, I would have instantly
Started theorizing.
started throwing hands.
As more
Okay,
people
so you
walk
just
through.
do the spelling. Sorry.
So I
Prince,
will put it
Prince Arcturus.
Arakos.
Arcturus. Cool.
So more people walk through again. Seems to be a busy day. There's a lot of people that have come to court since Anathor's death to try and get eyes on the new king, Everett. Many coming with families, small bits. The castle has never been busier. As you see, noticing around, the squirrely, greasy Savarajat, very much so, scanning everyone that comes through, and he almost freezes as the next person walks through the door. And he goes, Savarojin of the Lorthonians, king of Lorthonian. As he walks through, a man much bigger in presence, you get the feeling that this is Savar's father.
Oh.
So, Savarajin.
Savarajin.
Oh, there's a K in there. Ignore the K. He is a bigger man, very much so military buzz cut. There is for the learned eye of Arcana, you can see influence where there is markings of where he has been hit by void creatures, perhaps on purpose. There is that similar, like, deep, almost bioluminescent purple vein-like structures all throughout his body. Whether embedded purposefully, you're not sure, but Lorthonians, this one anyway, gives a far higher impression of power than Savarajat ever could hope to do.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious. Half Elven. Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask that. Okay. I'm just curious. Like, do any of the people entering, do any of them sort of make eye contact with Calacindia as they're making their entrances? Or
I would say the Goliath ambassador and the Savarajin did.
Okay.
Clocking you, whether it's clocking your station, your capability, or just that it's a new face of court.
Yeah. Okay. And just quickly, because given that I've done a bit of research on the Lithonians, what is their exact connection to the Kingdom of Birten?
So, they were once an independent nation of what their territory was, but they had a lot of in Lothric. They had a lot of troubles with the Order of the Arch, trying to stop any of their progress or research into the void, opening gateways and such. So as they decided to become part of the nation of Birten, along with the kind of Morabir, not so much still having their own independency, but being under the protection of the crown and having treaties set up that way.
Right. Okay.
But he is still recognized, at least by the announcers, as the king of the Lorthonians.
Yeah.
He is
so still very much keeping
high nobility
station
within the region.
Yeah. Okay. So picking up from that, probably a very influential person here in Birten at court.
He is up there.
Okay. Have I picked up? I'm just curious, like just from listening around and hearing people talk. Have I picked up any other big names in terms of major players in Birten, like outside of the royal family?
Give me a perception check.
Perception. Yeah, but like particularly if like someone enters the room and there's like a lot of whispers start to go off, or like
There's a lot of whispers when Savo Regin walks in.
okay, that's an 18. All up.
So you do a little bit of digging in your memory. We flash back to Calicinder poring over texts. You read through reports of minstrels and of the kind of the starless inquisitors that are through here. It is actually currently favoured that Savo Regin's daughter is to marry the young King Everett.
Ooh. Right. Okay. Curious. Interesting.
Trying to secure that political thing. And hello, everyone who's in chat. We see you. How you doing, Crimson?
Hello. Welcome.
How's everyone? Everyone might be going to bed. Very good. We're going to do some politics instead.
Yes, we're going to do some hardcore
Sit down, get some popcorn. We're doing high-quality roleplay of political intrigue a day at court.
Yeah.
Other than that, you recall throughout that there is no one officially ambassador here from the Morrowbeer, as those, that kind of that relationship's a little strained, one might even say. Other than that, you do hear of Canondeer, Cedra. You do see them walk through. It is a Jorhakin, one you've never met. It looks very, very similar to Corzith. Canondeer is Canindeer.
The Jorhakin. Okay.
Yeah. Cedra. Same last name as Viola.
Right.
Of Corzith.
Yes.
Probably Viola's uncle. Something similar. He looks older, so not brother or sister, or same generation. Looks closer in age to Corzith.
Yeah.
Other than that, who else walks in? For now, that is it. That is
okay. The main people coming through.
As people start to strewn about their day, Everett makes some decrees of some trade negotiations that have being not that they're like new established, but it's more that they were end of their lease, so to speak, and the trade between Lothic and Birten has been renewed for another few seasons, and a new trade agreement that there will be slightly lower taxation on Rindleton's import of logs and like kind of the small like logging territory that can be gotten from Lothic's area. The taxation on it is being reduced a little bit for Rindleton in exchange for some of their gold mines on Mount Zakek being less tax coming into the country.
Yeah. All very standard.
All very standard
proceedings.
As people kind of go through talking of it, people start breaking off into groups, and it's not so much that Everett is dismissed court. People are still going up to Everett asking questions, but it appears that the royal proclamations of the day are at a pause, at a time to to strew around.
Proceedings have finished. It's like more being formal.
As everything starts to pass, there is a moment where you're not sure if it is a lack of knowledge or just an innate curiosity that the young tiefling Arikos Rindle walks up to you and he gives a very curt bow. He goes, Prince Galacindia. It's a name I'm not familiar with, and I must admit my knowledge of your kingdom is purely theoretical. I've only read about you in a few of the books in my father's home.
Of course, we are a rare sighting indeed on the surface. A pleasure, Prince Arikos Rindle.
Thank you.
I have not yet had the delight of visiting your beautiful city. I mean, likewise, I have read much about it, but I should like to visit someday, and dying God be willing, I will visit it soon.
Thank God. That is your people's deity, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Maybe, perhaps one day you shall come. It is a sight to behold in the summer months.
Absolutely. Are you here on a permanent basis at Birten Court, or just a temporary visit?
A more temporary visit, as of Everett's coronation. I brought gifts bearing the kingdom's mark from Rindleton.
I'm quite curious, actually. I do not know much about the Rindle family.
Well, there's few of us, a fair few of us. My father, Rolf Rindle, is very much so the head of the family still. Although an older gentleman now, he is well into his years. Unfortunately, I am the only one of infernal lineage in my family, but I'm treated well.
Right. I must admit, my knowledge on how the infernal lineages work is a bit more abstract, but is that normal to occur? One.
It is not abnormal. It can crop up.
Right.
Perhaps there was some dealing in the past, but I'm sure, as you're well aware, as a newcomer to court, rumors spread easy.
Of course, I can imagine. Especially in one like this with quite a varied collection of individuals from across the world. I must admit, I was not expecting quite as many faces such as these.
There is
Goliaths from the north and, well, cities from the south, like yourself. It's quite a collection.
There is much to be thought of the young King Everett.
Indeed.
You, how about yourself? Do you bring yourself to court as a more permanent basis, or are you here temporarily for gifts for the young king as well?
Well, a bit, I suppose, not quite gifts as such. Today is my attempt to make introductions at court formally for the first time. I have been around in Birten for a bit longer, but I have not quite made the proper introduction. However, I do find myself on a more permanent basis in the north of Birten at Ariel Keep, which you are more than welcome to visit. But
I'm not familiar with its location.
It's close to the city of Rendenwell.
Ah, good property. Rendenwell is very popular here.
Yes, there was a bit of a slight issue up there before, but we helped solve that.
That would place you as part of the Kingfishers, then.
Correct, you have heard of us.
I was in court the day the Herald brought through news of the Kingfishers' success against the Darrakul within Renderwood. It is good to see. My sister Solana, she not so much adventure kind, but in one of our closer settlements towards let me just get the name. Closer settlements towards Mount Zakak did deal with a little bit of a Darrakul situation. More rallying the troops than front lines herself, but she is an inspiring woman to hear speak.
So you've had dealings with the Darrakul over in Rindleton?
I believe so. I'm no expert in undeath or ghouls, but there was a breach in one of the gold mines, purely dealt with by the Rindleton's finest. We do have some favour with many knighthood orders, one being the Prescient Knights, who have helped many times, which you know as a
Pallid Elf Knighthood Order, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Our nations do have positive relations with Mount Ondai. He is also, you feel from your insight as well, he does not know of any strife between Pallid and Starless.
I'm sure they are more than capable individuals.
They did adequate work. Very adequate.
I'm sure. However, if you wish for a more extensive knowledge on Darrakul, I'm sure my people will be more than willing to send advisors and the like to provide you with what knowledge we can provide you with, should any other future breakouts occur.
That is most appreciated. It is my understanding that the Starless Elves are the paramount of knowledge when it comes to facing the Darrakul.
Correct. We have spent centuries now combating them, so very much so.
Would you ever need assistance from Rindleton? You need only ask. We wish to make good relations with your people, finally willing to make your way to the surface.
Absolutely, that is part of my goals and ambitions here, is to establish these connections to everywhere here on the surface. As you know very much from what you were saying at the start, we are very new here after all. Our kind have not been seen around here for millennia, so it will take time.
We do appreciate it, and we hope to garner positive relations.
Of course.
Who may I address any concerns to, or if there is an issue, would I be best bringing it up to yourself? Would I find you at Birten Court, or would it be better to send a message to RIL?
If you can't find me at court, definitely to RIL. To my knowledge, there is a delegation there that is capable of handling most, less than serious issues.
If I'm not mistaken,
anything of higher note. Of course.
Your stewardess came through when the rest of the delegation came through. One Vocatil Tarandin. Very, very nice woman. Which you recognize the Tarandin family name as that of your father's family name. A minor nobility, but a very well-respected one. The Vocatil, you're not too familiar with her as an individual, but the name does trigger a response.
Yeah, probably just like seen a face.
Yeah, you've seen her at court.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. That resolves that question. I haven't actually met with her myself, but good to know that I have a very capable person. Her family are very well respected, and I think she should be more than ready to handle most issues that come through.
I'm glad to hear it.
I'm a little curious, actually. I've heard a bit of recent news, concerning news, I guess. Your western borders with Casellia seem a little tense with the ongoing conflict.
You mean
Is
the
everything all
fledgling
right?
nation of Montarathea?
Yes.
There has been many strifes and conflicts. It is looking to come to an end. There is a treaty to be signed between a few of the fledgling, well, not fledgling, but between Overgrad and Favendel, if we can find just cause to send aid to Casellia. We're still hammering out the details, but Montarathea does show apt reason as to why they wish to be a sovereign nation.
Right. And from the sounds of things, apt power to survive.
More than apt, if you ask me. They're very capable.
So I've heard. It's a little concerning, I suppose. I mean, considering magic, powerful arcanists being as uncommon as they are on the surface, to have such a high concentration of them in one nation.
We find ourselves quite lucky with that. We do have a very extremely powerful arcanist ourselves to keep much relation. She does go by a name of Aura, I believe. She is an excellent arcanist for our people, and does much work for our trade with the road as well. They showed respect. I believe she worked with Montarathea, well, back when it was known only as Kerrigan. She did help them develop some of their more, not more capable, but she did help establish some relations.
Right.
There is not bad blood between us. It appears to be all of the bad blood is purely to Casellia past the Zipsel Plains. It's not it does not appear their strife. They do not wish to take over other sovereignties' territory, but their own is they do. Casellia is a historical and important location. That much is assured, but perhaps the policies are a little dated.
Right. A very astute response. I'm curious, what can you tell me about this arcanist of yours, Aura?
She's elven in
trained.
nature.
Right. Where from exactly?
She calls a small home in one of our cities called Lavoca. a smaller settlement of Oz. But her training does come from, I believe, the many courts within the Feywild, the courts of light and magic. She is well trained by an archfey purely whose domain relies upon magic.
A question for you, Des. Something that actually hasn't come up before. What is the general starless consensus and feeling about Fey and archfeys and all of that?
Give me a history or religion check.
I think both are the same.
But the DCs are different for me.
Okay, I will go for a let's go for a history. Let's go for a history. Okay, that's actually pretty good. That is 25.
Your people have had almost no interaction with the Fae, but they do have an understanding of power and in certain respects, specifically for the nighttime courts, that there is a pragmatic approach within the chaos of the Feywild.
Right. Okay. So, respecting who they are and their
game sees game.
Yeah, game meets game. Essentially, they're not ascended. They don't try and be divine. So it's just respecting them for who they are. Okay, fair enough. Interesting. A Fey trained arcanist. That is,
she is,
from my understanding, quite unusual.
She's quite the rarity, I'm told. She's Shadow Fey in nature as well. I assume she originally originates from Lake Hetsbau and the Eye of Ruin. One of his followers brought over, I would have imagined. Or some lineage towards that.
Curious. That is very enlightening news. I've found myself in a rather scarcity of arcanists of that power here on the surface, so I should very much like to meet her if I can at some stage.
That could be arranged. I must excuse myself. I do see myself being signalled down. Do enjoy your day at court, and as I said, if you wish to, if you have means, you should visit Rindleton sometime. My father Rolf would be more than happy to meet you.
Well, in the next few months, I believe that we are intending to head that way, but I will let you know in advance if I have the means of doing so.
He gives a curt bow and then he says, I believe the cultural customary thing is, until the stars return, Prince Galacindia.
You are well read. Until the stars return.
He excuses himself. So, as you're strewn around court, there is many people, but a lot of people already watched that transpire and are very curious. So there's even, you see someone from, you see a familiar gauntlet, but you recognize the insignia from Favendel, and they're kind of looking over at you, and they don't look annoyed at you. They look annoyed for the fact that Arikos got in
first. Yeah.
Because there is tension. They have had not recent, but within the past decades, border wars over territory lines.
Yeah. I'm curious, do I know the relationship between Favendel and Mount Onday?
I don't know if you would. Roll me a history check.
That is 26.
26. You'd know that they don't always see eye to eye.
Right, okay. Curious.
Mount Onday is not a fan of the expansionism of Favendel into the mountains around that area.
Yep. Very much their domain.
There has been issues. Favendel has had issues with most people.
Yep. Being very warlike expansionist.
Yes.
They have issues with a lot of people. Fair enough. Okay. If there's like a bit of a break after that, Calacindia will probably just, if there's like servants carrying around sort of like goblets of wine or something, probably just take one and try to just listen in for a little bit on the general conversations of the day, the general topics that are being discussed.
Okay. Give me
for a little bit at least.
General perception as you walk around, trying to figure out what's the general vibe of things.
Yeah. Also, goodbye, Nate. Enjoy your Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy it, gamer. See you around.
Where's my perception modifier? Okay, that's not great. That's a 12.
Okay. You feel that the general topics, there is whispers of why the Starlists are here. There's a lot of like curiosity. The general topics are some people are strewn around. There's a lot of talk right now between somebody from Oshikir trying to secure perhaps a safer trade route with some what looks to be a bit more of a out of place person from Yosgrin, asking, kind of trying to figure out could they loop around to avoid the Birten taxes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't appear to be going anywhere because it's like, well, if your ship's strong enough, they'll get through our fleet. And they're like, but we could pay you. And it's like, well, we could take everything.
Yeah. Okay. Looking over towards what's his name, King Savarakin.
Savorajin. The K is a typo when I put it.
Savorajin.
I'll write it for you.
Savorajin. Looking over him, does he seem like in the middle of a conversation at this current stage, or?
He appears to be giving a smaller or like a very quick beratement to Sava. Like you see, he is like getting a quick tongue lashing. Yeah. Sava is like fixing his collar, standing up straight. You do then see he turns around to kind of walk towards like the more wine table. His like leather lapel is very much like preened and perfect. There is a small violet colored flower that is pressed into the lapel, very akin to something that's been afflicted by the void.
Constantine will make his approach.
So you kind of you time your path so you both head to the wine table at the same time. As he looks over at you and he goes, "Hello, I believe you." He gives a quick bow. In Scalasindu, I believe.
King Savorajin. A pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm sorry it has taken this long.
It's all right. I did not find myself in court until after the incident, as he gives you a very knowing look.
Right.
I feel like Sava has not kept a secret very well.
Yeah. I've had the pleasure of meeting your son, however, as I'm sure he's told you.
You've met the whelp. So be it.
Your only child, or?
No, not at all. I have some more capable than this. Yeah. Sava is an apt ward and has done well securing our trade agreements and such, but he has much to learn. I hope he has not been a bother to you at court.
No, he has been enlightening in some aspects, I will say. I suppose there's a few issues that one can overlook, especially without knowing the true identity of some people involved.
My family is much
scarcely
larger.
A bother.
My eldest Helstein is a capable arcanist in the ways of the void.
Oh,
I'm sure you've heard of the betrothment that wishes to come through between Everett and Helstein.
Of course, I have heard. Well, I'm sure half the time if it is rumors from some people or something.
There's many rumors at court. I do not fancy them myself. Your maid you sent, he seems to be helping Everett quite well, although the boy lacks some of the more physical capabilities that we are trying over in Lothric to send aid to help him with this training. Myself has been a tutor to him.
Well,
how is your sickness, so to speak, as diagnosed by Viola? I hope it is dormant or within remission.
It is proceeding rather well. I have scarcely felt its effects since the incident many months ago.
The Zapperstone must do wonders for that, I've heard.
It should. And a few incidents since then have led me to believe it's may have more permanently abated.
That is good news. Tell me this, Prince Calasindir. I know little of your people's ways or customs. What say you to the study of the void?
The study of the void, that is most a divisive subject. What is the general consensus in Nijin Alexander? Calasindir as well, having spent a large amount of his time around arcanists and academics and the like, what is the general feeling about not just studying the void, but actually trying to harness it?
Give me a Arcana check.
Okay, this is with pleasure. Like, that is like this is the big one. That is 18 plus 16, 34.
34. Generally speaking, it's a difficult thing to harness because a lot of its harnessing does require the open night sky to pull the void to you. Because it's literally something that is up there. That being said, it's seen as something that's quite dangerous. It's a place where a lot of the old gods came from somewhere beyond the void, and it's very unpredictable and difficult to control. A few attempts have gone very awry that has not outlawed it, but has dwindled the amount of people that are willing to look into it to a bare minimum within Nijin Alexander.
Right. Would it be I suppose, a jump to say that for some people it would be seen as almost like quite a religious form of magic in that sense, like the connection to the old gods and the void? It has that connotations for some people, I imagine.
It does.
It is, I suppose, a respected form of magic to practice, as its danger is well known. Those that manage to harness it are very powerful indeed. But there are many more that fail to do so, and who feel its after effects, sort of looking at the possible void marks.
He does rub the fingers along the kind of the glowing veins. He goes, the after effects are apparent. Void salts are difficult to work with. One must have a strong constitution to deal with such things, but it is good to know your people do not vilify it for what most people's understanding is beyond their comprehension. The void itself is a fascinating field of study.
It is. And understand that for many of my people it is, well, the void itself is respected. It is where the old gods emerged from. And for that we hold it as, and the stars within it, within a certain holy light.
That is good. That is a good answer, Prince Calasindir. As he toasts you and takes a long sip of his wine.
Of course, my people are quite proficient in arcane matters, but it is one area that we have not achieved much in the way of breakthroughs in, naturally due to the lack of, the sky to harness it correctly.
So I don't imagine you'd get very far with conduit that far below ground.
No, it makes it unpredictable and even more dangerous.
Well, if it is, perhaps we could exchange notes on topics in general. If ever you have arcanists that are curious of the void, I wouldn't want to think of somebody practicing. Hey, Corsair's Cove, raiding with a party of 32. Ooh. How are you guys doing?
Hello, welcome.
Daria, how did the DMing go?
Daria? Yeah. Did you TP Caleb?
Did you TP? You're welcome to join us at this lovely little intrigue and roleplay time. Calasindir is having a day at court meeting a lot of very extremely arrogant and stuck-up people, but also kind of fits in pretty well.
Yeah. Look, that describes Calasindir as well, so...
but how did it go? Tell us everything. Thank you for the follow by Firelight. Very cool of you. How's things? We're doing a little solo Bolo adventure here. But yeah, welcome. You were very cool. You are very cool.
Nice. How many people did you kill, Daria? How many of the players?
How many of the characters? I'd rather than players. Yeah, we saw Darius House's adventure. I hope it went well. None, sadly.
None, sadly.
Next time.
Yeah, you'll get them next time. You gotta lure them in, you know? You gotta lure
I'm
them
a
in.
kind DM.
First game.
So you're the opposite
Yeah.
that as you are of a player. Very good. But welcome everybody. We're doing a little bit of a solo adventure. If you like heavy politics, this is what today is all about. Calasindir is at court with the royals and is working hard on establishing connections. So we'll see how this goes. But sit back, put your feet up, enjoy it. We're going to be here for a while. So, she kind and merciful DM. Yeah, it's the exact opposite as a player. It's wild.
Yeah.
So, as you're talking to Savil Rajin, father of Savil Rajat, much different personality, mind you.
Favorite character.
Second least favorite after last week, after yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
But a very different character, very much so more official. It's not a spoiler for you as a player, Daria, but you also did miss the name drop that Aura is the court mage for Rindleton. You missed a name drop.
Yeah. And we talked about Aura for a little bit, which is really cool.
Yeah. In character. But feel free to stick around.
Name drops of Aura.
And enjoy your lurk, Josh. Yeah, very pog. Yeah. We even talked about Lavoka a little bit.
Definitely going to try and organize a meeting. As
we get back in, the Varajin standing, drinking some wine. There's definitely like Roman insight.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Okay, yeah, I don't have any modifiers. I should know this by now. That's just a flat 18.
Flat 18. You get that there's a feeling that Savo is kind of eyeing you up, trying to figure out how he could use you. Like, where could you fit into his political ladder? What rung could you be? How could he... Because he is half-elven. His people are half-elven in nature. So there's even that thing being like, I wonder where is any... Like, a big part of this is potential suitors for family members.
Yeah. I must find myself a little bit curious, naturally, here on the surface. Do you find yourself of Morabia descent?
I am of Morabia descent.
In regards to your elven. Right. I'm not too knowledgeable of your people, Lithonians' heritage in these lands.
We share the secrecy, don't we? There's a certain kinship in it. Much coveted knowledge that lies within both of our territories. I find that my mother specifically was from the Morabia, so I still, although be it not the season for it, have safe passage, as I was born with gotta get a name. I was born in Gearholm myself. Would have rather been born in Lothic, but you can't exactly plan these things sometimes, can you? As he cheers you again.
I should very much like to visit your... Is Lothic, is it like a big city there, or is it just like small settlements? Or...
It's like one town that's very like closed and guarded. It's a walled-in city. It's quite well established, and there's a couple small farming settlements outside of it. But they surrendered most of their non-void studiers to Birten as a kingdom, and just really walled in their main capital. What would have been their capital?
I should very much like to visit your city one day. Of course, if I'm... Might be the perfect place to share knowledge and notes as such.
I would be very, very curious to see how one such as yourself, associated with many things. Yeah. And even... I cursed it when Savapos told me that you were all within the sleeping bloodline. I had theorized that a strong dose of void from the conduit could have shattered it from you in but a second. If you lived, of course.
Of course. There is always that challenge. However, I am hopeful that my own connection to the Dying God will indeed shatter any such tethers it has over me.
Your Dying God is quite revered, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed.
Yeah.
He is the underpinning of our entire civilization. Which I'm sure you can understand, being a being of great power from the void itself.
He's not the being of the void that we so study, but He is of note for the tracing of humanity to Quenthos.
I'm curious, is there a particular void being that you have a singular
Roll
focus
me
on?
a persuasion. He's into his drinks, like he is knocking back the wine much quicker than you are.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, what is my... Ooh, I've got good persuasion. I keep forgetting I've got a decent persuasion. That's a 21.
Our void seekers have tracked the stars. There are many, as you know, there are nine planets within Quenthos.
Of course.
Our void seekers found whispers and rumors of 13. There was a being once so strong in the void that it had but consumed some.
These motherfuckers playing with fire, Jesus Christ.
They're playing with the fire.
They're fucking playing with the apocalypse over here.
With power such as that to harness, one could only imagine not only that boundless destruction, but if harnessed, boundless power and boundless knowledge. Also, to find the knowledge, looking into the scars in the void of where these planets once were, we've tried to ascertain what they once were. It's
of course.
a very interesting field of study.
Incredibly interesting, although incredibly dangerous. It's not simply studying the void, but studying the beings within it. And as you've said, beings of such power to destroy entire worlds such as our own, they're not to be...
Well, we've never tried to summon one of those.
No. I suppose that would probably be the last thing your people, or even the entire world, would probably know.
It's kind of like when you... That saying, so is the last place you look for. Well, of course it's the last. It's done after that.
That is most interesting, though. I did not realize your people were so deeply involved in such practices. I knew that it was your primary focus, but for such powerful beings, that was a bit out of my knowledge.
We do have some reverence for the great old gods, as you would. The Eye of Ruin, the Farwalker, your dying god. Right. Although we do not worship them as such, we do like to trace their power, as nothing happens within the void without leaving a scar. Especially the big bits. There are big scars there that... Almost like looking into a mirror of the past. When you analyze the scars, you can see many things.
I was curious. I am interested. Have your, what did you call them, void seekers?
Yes.
Have they found much in these scars about old gods and the like?
We have found a lineage of many. We have tracked some. We even, as he kind of whispers, we believe there is 2 more on this realm than we even are aware of. We've tracked their flight to here before.
Do you have names?
I do not. I only have the scars of their abilities.
Right, that is most interesting.
I'll tell you, if I find them, you'll be the first to know. If I live!
Of course. I'm sure if they want to keep hidden, they will very much do so. Very easily.
Well, everything leaves a trace, doesn't it? Every slight manipulation in the weave and the way magic, the weave that the void wraps through. Everything, as he creates a small light with his hand, everything damages it just a little. And you see these scars. And then you see patches where the scars are healing, and you know something like your dying god or the Eye of Ruin or something of big import has been passed as they exude the energy to heal the void as he sucks the light back in. As he's looking at the area, obviously there's nothing you don't know if he can see the weave, but it's very curious. He's very confident in how he says it.
Yeah. I'm sure the Jean Hakin here would see such things very differently.
The Jean very capable seers, very capable. They do not share our reverence, and have even once or twice asked me for some of my notes, but we've not come to blows over them yet.
Do you find yourself, your people throughout your history come into odds with them often, or?
I feel like those who are brave enough to seek out power beyond most people's realm of fear are often persecuted as villains, but what is it if not something we need to learn to control before it controls us?
Of course. Too few people realize the ever-present danger this world is always in from beings beyond our world. And just the raw force of the void and magic itself.
Spoken like a true scholar. You are a good drinks fellow there, Calasindia. The conversation flows well.
Indeed. It's
Let's see.
quite a nice meeting. I was not expecting this, I must admit. I wasn't sure if Savar had darkened your outlook on
As he
my
looks
side.
over at Savar's, trying to be a very important somewhere else, and he looks over. The boy's never even gone underneath the first void trial. This is probably the best he'll ever do for us. He is my sixth born, so.
Right. And was it his choice to be sent here, or your own?
The boy does not get a choice until he proves himself a man.
Right. And without accomplishing the first void trial, that is probably not easy to go through, I imagine, to prove.
He is not considered a... He is about, 22, 23 of age now. Under most cultures he would be considered an adult, but in my eyes he will still be a child until he finishes his trial. The coward doesn't even have the gall to take it yet.
Is Saval listening?
Yeah, Saval's slightly holding back tears as he's here. Saval is voice getting very high as he's drinking.
I actually feel bad. You've made me feel bad for Savar, Des. You've made me feel bad for Savar.
You get the feeling he's probably the way he is based on how his father treats him.
Yeah. He has, practiced in magic?
If one could call it that.
Right. Lacking in some aspects. I
He
imagine.
is not Elstein.
Right.
She first finished her first void trial at the age of 11. Right to the family.
That is, I imagine, quite a young age to accomplish it.
Most do not take their first until a young age of 15. And even then, the first attempt very rarely goes well.
Right. But at least it is attempted at 15.
It is attempted, and one would then... Normally by their 18th or 19th birthday, they would be studious enough to complete it. Saval still refuses to take the first trial.
Is it fear, or...?
He has his mother's cowardice.
Oh. You don't speak too fondly of her?
My fourth wife.
This fucking guy. Holy shit. He's a...
Someone does come up. It does be a similar kind of perhaps his steward, someone that is more accompanying. I guess, my king, if we would. The young Prince Calasindir is too kind to let us know he is done with this conversation. Please, there's matters to attend to.
I just enjoyed just humiliating Savar just a little bit there.
And he escorts him through. As Savar has already left the building.
Okay, that's giving me a completely different outlook on Savar now.
It explains a lot of why he is the way he is.
It does explain a lot. Fucking hell, his dad's a complete bastard, but I love him.
His dad's a tough dad.
Very tough. Very, very tough.
So, there are a few people strewn around.
Mm-hmm.
Insignias you are familiar with, some you are not.
Okay.
What do you wish to do?
Does anyone seeming to sort of be trying to make eye contact with Calasinda, or trying to edge towards him at all?
You do see the Goliath from Bellerin is You're not sure if it's meant to be intimidating or if that's just the way his face naturally sits, but it's a deep furrowed frown kind of looking over at you. This kind of... Everyone is drinking out of wine glasses very traditionally. He has this large mammoth's horn that he's just...
Yeah. He's... Sorry, Des. He's a longhorn.
Yeah, he does have a... the horn is
he does have a
long.
longhorn. That's like old meme. Okay. Having seen this guy be looking at him a few times, and having introduced himself to the main royalty in the room, Calicindir will approach Varad.
Well, Prince
Varad?
Calicindir, it is a pleasure.
Indeed. What
So-
brings you to court this day?
You do. I've been coming here
Yeah.
many days and spending many, many hours looking for you. I heard of your royal introduction, as you were granted rank of ambassador. I wished to
Good.
pay my respects to the Starless. I've never had the pleasure of meeting any of your kind, but I find us bloodkin from long afar, both apt fighters of Jotun.
Right, of course. And your people are probably one of the few. I imagine, in terms of, I would have a general understanding.
You
of
understand that when the
Goliaths and-
300-year war happened, the first people to
Yeah.
get hit were the Goliath clans of Beleren.
I know that your people are the ones here on the surface closest to my own and still bearing the scars
Mm.
of conflict against the Jotuns.
It's, sainthood. That's what we get.
Hmm.
The fight was still worth fighting if you ask us. I'd be frank with you, Prince Calicindir. If you require aid in a fight, you need only ask of my people. I wish to provide myself as someone for you to lean on in IRL keep.
Really, that is a most generous offer. I was not expecting anything to be so forthcoming.
Hmm.
Yeah?
I do not do well with politics, but I do well with cracking a skull.
Well, trust me, with the way things are going, I think there'll be many skulls to crack. And trust me when I say that I think it is very much a shared sentiment that the 300-year war ended too soon.
We still had 50 years of fighting us left easily.
Of course. And what is it now but another unresolved conflict for the future, after all?
300-year war ends, but my fight with the giants never ends. My forebearers and my own. We still have to watch the borders of the Shatters.
Of course. Quite recently, I found myself up north in the north of Zarsam, and had quite a nasty encounter at the hands of a half Jotun up there.
A half Jotun. There are a few of them. Who did you scrap
Leading
with?
Trace Kagelda?
Reisfelger.
The corpse.
As he takes
called us.
a big spits on the ground. Got his name by eating my father.
My condolences.
Eh. One's
We
weak enough to be
almost had him.
eaten.
We almost had him, but he fled the fight before we could finish him.
Ah,
We killed the frost giants that were with him, but unfortunately, he remains for another time. For now,
well, Reisfelger is no joke. He is
no.
a big bastard, and he is not one to stand his ground when he gets injured.
No,
You know, we have just the javelin for that.
really.
Yes. I would mean
is it?
to bring it as a gift for when I met you, but they will not let me bring it into the courtroom.
Unfortunate. But what does this javelin do?
It's an earthbinder.
Oh,
If someone
Well, he
tries to
does
fly
turn
away
into-
from you and you have the muscles to yuck it at them, they'll be brought down from the heavens.
Wonderful. You know, if I do make the acquaintance of Hey Skeletor once again, I should very much like to bring that javelin with me, should he try and flee from the fight. This time, staying around to finish the job.
One would hope so. So what say you? Do we have an accord?
We have an accord.
He reaches out his arm and grasps your forearm, and like the shake almost
Yeah.
literally like waves through your body.
Yeah,
It's like
I was gonna say, just this massive bulking next to lean Calicindia.
well, you're similar height.
dwarf.
Like you
Similar
pretty.
height, but just like muscle wise.
Yeah, it's like he weighs
Yeah.
about 4 calisiniers.
Yeah.
So
But you are more than welcome. Are you here by yourself or with
I
others
brought,
Goliaths?
we have brought a few fellows for a fight if we needed it for the journey. A few very strong infantrymen.
Perfect.
So,
I should very much like to discuss the whole this alliance further with you at some other point. But for the time being, I will very much welcome you at Ariel Keep to make it your home. And for those warriors by your side, anyone who wishes to bring vengeance upon the Jotuns is a friend and ally of my own.
that was our thoughts exactly. I've never known a
is-
Starless, but I hope to know many more after today.
Well, that is shared. I've found so far that many here on the surface have forgotten. It's nice to find someone who hasn't.
People let go of grudges too easy. It's easy to move on and
Indeed.
accept an apology, but when you think of Greggy, the Shatterer, he's not the king that once united all Jotuns. They're not all united under him. He cannot control them all.
As soon as just the name of Greggy, just the Calicindia's face just instantly.
You also know he did not
changes.
call him saint. He's no reverence for him as a deity. There is no even acknowledging him as a saint.
Greggy. Greatest travesty to ever set foot upon the surface. Declaring that abomination a saint.
Perhaps someday we see him as a saint and we say no. And, just really test that whole Jotuns have to die in combat theory.
I should very much like to see that. Now, I do actually have one further question for you, actually, slightly aside. How did you travel down here? It's quite the journey.
Well, we do have some druids. They're very capable. There's a nice tree we know of in there's somebody just kind of, even though he does not travel very often. There's a,
Yeah.
I believe it was near in the road. There's a tree that some of our
Right.
druids practiced at near there, and we do have little bit of a journey there from allies to get to Ojikir. So we do upon work cage with our ring wardens, and they got a boat from Ojikir.
Right, your people have pioneers ring magic, from my understanding.
There's no one
And
better capable of assessing what gold, jewels, or gems or rings you could have in your minds. I hear your Ariel has a mind that the little man down here says is run dry.
indeed.
Yeah.
Do you think you could take a look at it and prove them wrong?
I think they don't have the eye for it. We'll see.
That's what I like to hear.
Perhaps we can turn friendship into profit as well. I will.
Indeed.
I brought some of my best from Ariel. For
You
Ariel.
brought any ring wardens with you?
Oh, we have one in case of necessity. It's never smart to travel without a mage.
Right. Well, I have recently positioned one of my people's arcanists here at court. I think he would be very interested in meeting with your ring warden. It's a form of magic unfamiliar to us.
Mm.
Um,
I heard of this Rubentier.
yes,
He's a geomancy, I heard. We do not study
correct.
this up north, so perhaps we can exchange some notes.
That sounds more than acceptable.
I will pass on Marmot's name to Rubentier.
Thank you. And in the meantime, if there's anything that I can do for you, then let me know. However, I do mean to depart for Ariel Keep within time frame, within the next week, probably.
Well, it's a bit stuffy up here for me anyway, so if it's all the best with you, I will make my way over there. Perhaps get someone to look at that mine of yours. As he takes a like small little pouch, tied leather, from his lapel, and he pours it into his cup, and he goes, swirls it, as it kind of coagulates a little bit. So partnership. He takes a sip, hands it to you.
Partnership. Oh, just take like a tentative sort of like sip.
He just lifts the edge of it. It's awful. It's awful. It keeps you warm. It's awful.
Yeah, but which in like Birten, which is warm anyway, it doesn't really. You don't really need that.
But it's fall. But it seems to be more of a like this is they drink as a like a unity, a bond of unity.
Right. The unity. Hands it back.
It tastes better cold.
I can imagine being surrounded by frigid winter. You would want that.
Oh. Pours it down to the ground and kind of kicks it away. He looks around and he pretty much makes eye contact with the door and he goes, all right. And he just starts walking away.
Allison is just there for a second, like, fuck, that was unexpected.
Yeah, you kind of feel that the signifying, it's not just the unity, but it's like to end a formal meeting, they drink to unity and leave. It's a little cultural difference, but
Carlson will note that down for future meetings. That's curious. I was not expecting quite as forthcoming as that. This is quite literally, you want to fight giants? My people fight giants.
The Goliaths of Battlerin are pretty straightforward. They're not.
Yeah,
they're not.
Just compare that to the last meeting with Savarajin.
Mm-hmm. It's less cloak and dagger.
Oh yeah. You
look around court. There is still people to talk to. There's still ways to make your way around this. How do you so approach it?
Like Carlson he'll look for, I suppose, what would like a group that would catch his eye. Because I imagine there's like a lot of different groups where people are just conversing mostly. Like that is most of what people are doing.
Yeah.
He would try and look for one of the ones that looks the most interesting in terms of the people gathered, and try and sort of insert himself.
So, kind of what you see happening is, well, it doesn't appear to be any form of like nobility, but more of like a. Sorry, just let me pull this up. What does kind of track your eye is you do see a lion folk, a leonin of Ojakir. He does appear to be very well kept. His mane is put together very well. The furs are heavy. This is a much colder area for him than what he's kind of used to. And he's talking very, very aptly to Ruventier. He's whatever you get the feeling of with your passive inside line, you feel that this Leonin chap is just happy to be heard right now. Probably been waiting around a while and hasn't been told much. Or been able to say much. That would attract your attention.
Do I see any like symbols or anything?
No.
Okay. Carlson will approach him in that case, actually.
There's
he seems just a bit.
A bow from Riventier and he goes, my liege, this is quite the interesting conversation. This Broxon Freetail, I believe. Broxon, introduce yourself. And he goes, my liege, can I listen to you? Prince Galacindia, I'm not sure. He kind of bows with his right arm, then his left. I'm not sure what his form
Please.
for this.
Don't concern yourself. It's quite fine.
It's excellent to be able to get to speak to somebody of import. I've been trying to petition the court for quite some time. I'm aware that Sapperstone is a very important thing in here, but I have found something similar, but not quite, up in Ojiki, in Zarsan, in the northern reaches.
Speak to me.
Near the Lothic Mountains, in Fain Kin. What I'm trying to coin, I suppose, it's called Vathium, or more commonly we would refer to as Seeper's Stone. Some of the Gilded Gear set has been using it to fuel a bit of their enchantment, but I suspect it could be used for further enchantment and the opposite of what has been done in Birten. It does not absorb magic; it exudes it. And if I could be so crude as to, he pulls out this small little box, very similar to what you see Raynor has, and he pulls out a small vial. This has been it's been a lot of work. I'm not quite as apt at enchantment as the Gilded Gear set, but not so much potion craft. It's not the same. It's more of a distilled Seeper Stone. Please, as he hands it to you.
What did you Cassian over taking it? And just sort of examine it, sort of like hold up to the light.
As you hold up to it, it's this thin blue essence, almost with speckles of white in it. You see, this is essence of Seeper Stone, essence of Vathium, and what that will do is, if you find yourself magically tapped for the day, that can help. It can help a little bit, not a lot of it, but a little bit.
Right.
I'm looking for somebody to.
What did you say your name was?
Broxon Freetail.
Broxon Freetail. I would very much like to hear more from you, Broxon. And how would you like to have official patronage of Vision Alexandria Crown?
I'm looking for that. I've been trying to petition the courts to get someone to fund an expedition to
Do not
create
waste your time here, Birten. I can already tell you that the Starless are more than willing to accommodate your research into such matters.
Really?
We are very keen on, as Ruvenir will tell you, very keen on harnessing arcane powers and learning what we can of new and upcoming methods. And this one here, as you've stated, the ability to recharge oneself is no doubt promising, but you said that the Gilded Gear set have also been using its abilities.
They found it. That's how they fund a lot of what they call artifices. They've used some of it to new items, to make many items that I'm sure you're aware of, bags of holding, which speeds, such stuff. They're expediting crafting with it, substituting it in place of regular components that are needed. Whereas I think there's more to it, and I think I've found a vein. And I was coming to Birten, I've petitioned OGK in Senate, and they denied it as it was the Gilded Gear set's area. But I believe within my home in Fain Kin, with the little bit of territory I have in the Lothic Mountains, I believe I have access to a sizable vein that could be, as you see, I was able to distill. I feel like I can bring something of this. I just need funding.
Be truthful with me here. Why didn't you go to the Gilded Gear set with this?
Well, they offered to buy my land and to take it from me, but I did not feel their offer fair. I feel like they sought to seek it for themselves, and why back your riches to another man? I did not want to pay once for my land and lose my access to the veins that I think I have at my disposal.
And you seem more than capable yourself as a researcher and arcanist.
You do me too good. I'm not an exceptional mage. I have a bare minimum understanding, but it is enough to
But you have ambition. Do you not?
I have ambition, and I have friends who are able to distill it.
Right. Friends being
a few of my closer accomplices within Zarsan, artist Lightshield. He is an exceptionally gifted sorcerer.
Right. Calcinder just sort of just turn to look at Ruvenir for a second, just to see his reaction to all this.
Ruvenir feels proud that they've been able to present you as someone that kind of has an idea.
I was in Zarsan recently, in Ogier, heard of the Gilded Gear Set and their recent accomplishments.
They've
Their
done well.
talking
I
sentient
think,
creature. I do believe that they are on the cusp of the next great form of magic to grace this world.
but
And I would very much wish to see my people at the forefront of it, as I believe that you can benefit both of us greatly with this.
you know what they say, competition breeds innovation. I just did not think it was best to give the only other vein of my awareness to the Gilded Gear Set and have them have a monopoly on the situation. I thought,
Of course not.
best to put the best foot forward, as they say, and see greatness myself, albeit I'm not capable of distilling it. Artist Lightshield is a very, very close friend, childhood friend, and not much of a man for words, but is capable of the distillation.
I do have some contacts within the Zarsan Senate that should be able to hopefully aid should any political complications come up in these endeavors. I recently came into the good graces, or rather, knowledge of Senator Proxia Freeridge.
Excellent man. It's quite the small sum. All I need to believe to start up a successful mine and be able to start getting this on a larger scale is a mere 6,000 gold.
Revenue. I think we can petition Isenhar Alexandria for such expenses.
I will see it done, my liege, if that is your wish.
That is. If you know of any people of note within Isenhar Alexandria that would have a keen interest in this form of magic, then please invite them to the surface and invite them to our friend here's land so that they may aid and observe with their own two eyes. I do not wish to take your land and your research away from you, but merely provide what assistance we can.
You're too kind. Thank you. I have been at court for a few weeks now, and I've yet to get my petition heard properly. They've been very busy, I think.
I'm quite surprised no one has taken up such a revolutionary offer.
Well, it's the risk, isn't it? It's how much in the vein is there. They didn't want to back the 6,000 gold.
Even just a small sum is proof, though.
Yes, you're more than welcome to keep it as well. It is yours to have.
Well, thank you. A memento for when your name becomes legendary and respected throughout the world.
You do me justice. You do me too much kindness. Thank you. I will leave you and your I will not leave you. I take out my pen, my quill, and I will write the details that are needed. And because I will not hand it to you, I'll hand it to Ruben.
If you do want to stop by Ariel Keep, you're more than welcome to it as well.
Ariel Keep.
I will be setting myself up. But of course, I know that ships do not depart from there as often.
I do not believe there's
it has no harbour.
Yeah. No, there's not yet. Perhaps someday that would help.
However, you are more than welcome there.
Very, very good. I will make note of this. My prince, you were too kind. I've heard the greatness of the Starless, but I did not think it would be so apt in person. The tales do not do your generosity enough.
You flatter me, please.
It is the best form of flattery is the best form of flattery I have found.
What can you spell his name for me, Des?
I will give it to you here. So 1 second. So you've got Roxon Retail, and you have Artis Lightshield. Roxon is the mind. Artis is the Roxon is the business. Artis is the talent.
Well, Roxon, I congratulate you on your first successful day at court.
Well, What is a few weeks of failure when you only need one day of success?
Precisely. I understand it all too well, the leaps one must take in order to see success.
He looks, he pats his kind of like his coin purse on his side. He's like, I did not know how long longer I would be able to stay here for petition. One must have the money for the journey home.
Of course. I wish you safe travels. And hopefully we'll be in contact soon.
As Reuben Tier goes, perhaps if Broxton would soon see it fit, I have some of Joranvir's old notes on circles. I believe there is one in Ojikir I could send you to.
Wonderful. Even better in that case.
You're too kind. You're very good to me. Thank you. As Reuben Tier starts escorting him away. A very, very good, but slightly possibly risky investment from Calisindir.
Slightly possibly, but the knowledge, look, even if it's a small vein, the knowledge acquired from that is more than enough.
So, one second, I gotta change the battery in my headset. I do hear the beep of low battery, so I won't be able to hear you for about a second. Oof. But how's everyone in chat doing? Is everyone getting ready for Christmas? How are people?
Just have a slight break from the roleplay. I do see Crimson plotting an assassination attempt in there. Typical day for the Lord of Chaos.
Hey, I'm back. So,
hey, welcome back.
You look around court. It is, again, it's getting a little bit later in the afternoon as Everett steps up to do another proclamation of base, kind of like some knowledge of declaring a few more people. You do see Sava Regin. He actually brings in a very, very beautiful half-elven woman. Young, maybe close to 30. Long, kind of deep brown hair that goes to a bright, vibrant purple in the end, almost like it's touched by the void itself. Her eyes are actually the color of the void now itself. The irises are the bright, effervescent purple.
Cool.
She does have some similar markings, although they don't appear to be as predominant as her father's.
Right.
Again, a few other people bring in various other suitors for Everett. It's more, you get this kind of like, this is a debutante's moment where they're bringing in people to try and catch Everett's eye.
Okay. I imagine Everett is very much trying to act the part.
Everett is like, yes, a beauty to behold. And
absolutely beautiful. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Kiss on the hand. Yeah. Pass her. You know, Everett has no interest.
Yeah.
But he is playing the part well, and let's see how well he's playing it. Oh, extremely well.
Okay. Callison will just stand there, just watching it all happen.
As you do this,
observing it all.
Canondeer comes up, two arms folded, one and two other arms. One has a small plate of like small little like finger foods, like small pieces of food, and the other's eating, and the other two arms folded. He goes, "Well, it's a bit like a farmer's market, isn't it?"
It is. That is quite an apt way of describing it.
Yes,
quite entertaining.
It is. Bringing the herd pass through to see which one to be bought. It's a curious tradition and custom.
Indeed.
My name is Canondeer, Cedra. I know you. I believe you know Viola.
I do, and Gorzith as well.
You know my brother. Stuffy fellow. Very serious curator in our time.
I won't try and disagree with you there, but understandable, considering his position, after all.
I hope he hasn't scared you of our people too much.
No. I found myself wanting to gain access to the archives recently. He had me undertake a small little quest for him beforehand, but it is completed.
That man and his missions, as you see. I'll describe Canondeer a little better. So he has that light blue skin. His eye wrap is very simple. It is a black leather with silver embroidery. No actual tattoos. That's the main difference to him and Corset. There is no ritualistic kind of runic tattoos on him. He definitely has a little bit more muscle mass to him. He's about 6'1" tall for a Jorhakin.
Right. Yeah.
I hope your mission was not too bad for the archives.
Well, look, I think considering the material handled in the archives, there's always a small measure of risk with anything to do with it.
Yes,
But
I
it
can
is
only imagine
accomplished
it was probably something to do with Arthur's Zexel.
very accurate. We have retrieved the missing tome, however,
That is
and
very, very strong. He is one of the few people to ever make it past my defenses.
your defenses.
I lead the Sentinels. The Joaquin fall into two sects, I suppose you could call it. You have curators who guard the books, and
All right.
the Sentinels, the people who guard the guys who guard the books.
And the tattoos denote curators, or
Part of the innate magic that has helped in when the Joaquin is brought into this world. It's one of the castes you are born into. It's not only based on the mother. It's tattoos are placed on her stomach, and they are transferred to child if one is lucky enough. If the child shows potential. I did not, but I was always able to beat my brother in forearm wrestling.
forearm wrestling. Right. Well, that's certainly a skill to have. And from going to leading the defenses of the archives to representing here at court, that is quite a change.
Well, I came to make sure everything was still in good affairs after Viola left. I lead the Sentinels, but there are many, many Sentinels. I do not need to stay there at all times. I mostly wish to make sure everything is, how would you say, amicable between us and
Right.
Birten. I do not wish to muddy any relations. We are negotiating with Everett a new ward, so to speak.
Oh, who do you put forward?
I wish to send forward. Just get a name up here. My son, Secom Cedra.
Cedra. Sentinel, such as yourself? Or?
Yes, the boy is young and eager to, let's be honest, eager to hit things with a stick.
Of course.
But there are some strong knighthood orders within Birten, I feel, that could temper his strengths. Let him see the world a little bit.
Well,
and it does not have to have a ward to the king.
Of course. Speaking of temper, I made good acquaintance with Knights of the Tempest Soul, who seemed quite apt. The Knight Commander is a good man.
He, as the two arms that are folded, pull out a small pocketbook with a small quilly or charcoal. He writes that down and folds it back in. I will keep that in mind. Perhaps we could petition the courts to have a squireship as well as a wardship. I originally thought perhaps the Knights of the Silver Gauntlet, but I must admit, after seeing the leadership, I think that title is purely figurative. Symbolic.
Yes. Calling them a knighthood order, I feel, is a slight disservice to others, perhaps. Although it is not my part to say so.
He kind of, the antennas are just spindling around. There is a small flare as I look at you. I do see what she meant, but I can see that it is
bloodline?
No. I see none.
Severed.
No, but I must admit, looking into that other eye of yours makes me dizzy.
Of course. I forgot that you would be able to see that. I would advise not staring at it for too long.
Be like a moth to the flame with it. I look at it and it makes me want to get sick after a few seconds. But I can see whatever attachment that Viola once saw to you, like ribbons through the air, she described it. her eyes are needing of work still. But I would be confident to say that you have none. I've seen some of your allies walk through these halls still with the shadow of a tether. I wonder what exactly has made you different.
I find myself quite fortunate with my connections to powers beyond my own. As he just taps
It appears that
his head.
that power has seen it fit to really override a saint's wishes.
Tell me, how much do you know of my people?
I know bits which lie within knowledge of libraries throughout the world. Small bits. I know you have deep issues with the Empire of Ghouls. I know you have a reverence for a great old one by the name of the Dying God. I know everything one needs to know when one attends court, but if you asked Korzith, he'd probably be able to tell you more.
Of course. Although, I believe he stated he has not actually had the acquaintance of any of my people before.
No, I believe it would have been our father, Ire, who last saw Starless.
Do you know of whom he met with?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm
No.
sure I could find out if it meant something to you.
Curiosity, more than anything. Curiosity.
Sorry,
But
give quick
that
type
is-
in names here. Oops, I done the right thing. Just for names, just because there's a lot of names you get, and I just keep track of them.
Yes, I've just got like a doc up at the moment, just with all the names. Right, but that is most relieving to know that any connection has been severed.
It's impressive. It is. The sight of magic, the way that weave wraps around things, is something that takes practice to really focus in on. Viola is showing good aptitude, and she has learned a lot in her times here, but I don't feign to know the full trainings of a curator. But
Right.
from a Jorah Keen standard, it appears she has progressed very well.
With a bit of luck, within a few years, she will, well, become even more proficient.
It's a funny story, really.
She seemed...
It's when she first was being asked to return to Zakir, to the archives. I had originally tried to petition my brother to let her move wardship to Erael with you all. I thought perhaps that could be a moment of note, but Korzith wished for her to return to her trainings more formally.
Well, she is more than welcome at Erael Keep.
She
More than welcome.
spoke highly of you all. She seemed to enjoy the responsibility, but there is trainings that are beyond my knowledge as one of the sentinels, what the curators so
Of
wish.
course. But should Korzith ever wish to have a representative at Erael Keep, I could think of no better person than Viola. I know some of my party members think very fondly and highly of her.
You speak very kindly. Your words are, frankly put, you don't seem quite as, how do I put this nicely? My brother's words are very put nicely. You all seem far more capable and well-spoken than I was made originally to believe.
Oh, what was your original beliefs?
Well, Korzith did not have much hope for you all, let's say.
Yes, I do believe some of us may not have made the best impression on him. We did come through the archives in a bit of a hurry and a bit of a demand. But hopefully, with the return of the tome, these matters will be
If I could
concluded
give
a bit better than they started.
if I could give one one piece of advice for anyone who wishes to deal with Korzith on a political, business, or heavy important intrigue. The man is wicked and smart. He knows his way around the archives better than anybody. Perhaps the best high curator we've ever had. But every man has a weakness. It just so happens my brothers are ginger snaps. Bring a plate of cookies to him when you see him. It might ease him into a conversation. We do not have ginger naturally growing in Zakir, so.
Noted. So between this session and the next, can we just say Carlson went out of town, bought some ginger snaps?
Sure.
Yeah.
There's few vices in life, but yeah, he's a sweet tooth.
That is very useful information to know for the future. Thank you for that, Sikon.
Sikom's my son. I'm Canondeer.
Oh, Canondeer, that's right. Sikom's your son, and Ire is
his father.
Ire is his father, right?
I assume that wasn't in character. That's just you.
No, that wasn't. That was me. Because there's quite a few names.
No, don't worry. I'm not going to hold that one against you. You're doing very well.
I was going to say something just before. Yes. I mean, if there's anything that I can do to further relations between myself and the Stylus and your people, then I'd very much like to pursue it. I have been met with nothing but respect for your Shohakin and your archives and your work. So I would very much like to see positive relations between us going forth.
That was part. Perhaps I'm not as good at subtlety if you're already reading my intentions. I had feigned to originally ask as well that in an effort to bolster our knowledge, I am aware within the Crystal Citadel you have many ancient texts. And in an effort to expand an olive branch, so to speak, I was instructed by the Council of Curators and Korzith who leads them to offer not only my son as a ward to the young King Everett, but to offer to take one of your nobility to our archives as our ward. If you could think of something.
I was wondering if there was further terms to be mentioned. I will have to speak to my mother about that, Queen Zilzorzana, and discuss this with her. But I think something could be arranged.
Perhaps minor nobility, someone that you think see fits, someone who could do with the tutelage. It's not
Of course.
The wardship isn't something we offer to many, as most aren't even fit for a life spent beneath the ground. But I feel your people are uniquely capable, like ourselves.
Yes. I do have a few names in mind, some more prominent than others and may take a bit more convincing, but I think I may even have a candidate in mind.
Prince Galacidir, it has been a pleasure. I apologize for my lack of subtlety dealing with these matters. Perhaps
no, that is
I was a bit
right.
blunt.
No, absolutely. Sometimes bluntness is refreshing. Dealing with a lot of subtleties and people looking to get the most out of you by saying the least. Here,
we are looking to get something out of this. I can't deny that.
Of course.
There is obviously a want to know what knowledge lies within your own archives comparative to our own, but the entire world is taking note as this is the first surfacing of the Starless that we have noticed since ever. And
I would very much... I do plan for this to be a lasting contact with the surface if I have my way.
No. Consider this offer. It is something our father once made but was denied. So.
Well, let us hope that there's a reconsidering of such offer. But I thank you. Is there a title I can address you by?
Sentinel Cedra is fine. I do not need to be called High Sentinel. I am the master of arms. And many arms, that is.
Well, Sentinel Cedra.
You can call me Canondeer.
Canondeer. It has been a pleasure.
One of the arms puts the plates down, the other two again his top two arms go behind his back. So he very happily walks away, and the other two folded in front.
Okay.
Again, he's more of a military man. He's not as kind of similar, like not quite as bad as Varad. He's not the best of these cloak and dagger, but he is definitely better than Varad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. After he disappears, Carlson is just going to look around. What is Everett? Is he still just like looking at the parade and like?
So
going through
in the
all that?
evening, you see, late lunch, you see Mercassiel come and say something to him and Theo disappears, but Everett looks a little bit annoyed because I believe this is the same day, if I'm not mistaken.
I think this is. Let me just quickly look at my session notes. Yes. This was the same day.
Yeah, but Everett is like met a few people. He is, there's a note of it all. He's like, he looks tired. He kind of looks like he wants to get back to his training.
Yeah,
you can kind of just tell from like your passive like investigation looking over it. Everett, his entire body's probably sore. He's probably been training every day since you left.
Yeah.
He just wants to sit down.
Yeah, we'll just approach him and just stand by his side. King Everett?
Prince Calasindia? I hope court is going well.
Surprisingly, exceedingly well. I was expecting a bit more apprehension, hostility from some, but
no, I've tried to impress the relationship I wish Birten and Mission Alexander to have, so everyone is on their best behavior in front of me at the very least.
Of course. That is always the issue at court. It is truly what lies below that is the issue.
It is unfortunate. There is many people in here, some of which would like to see me off the throne, the other wish would like to marry someone onto it. I don't suppose you wish to marry a Lorthonian, do you?
Oh, I met with him before. He seemed very enamored with the whole idea of marrying his daughter to you.
Yes, it is the I believe it is a rumour started by Savo.
Oh.
I believe he started the rumour himself to almost intimidate anyone else from making the offer. But...
Oh, God. Well, look, once I return my sister, maybe another person parading. And just
try to marry. Gallus India. I'll tell you what, take that one off my back, I'll take that one off yours. If she can be down on the information, I suppose. As he giggles and takes a sip of his wine.
You seem to be wearing the crown with a bit more confidence and certainty from when we last passed through.
That's half thanks to you all. It was very much so the idea of my my advisors to frame your all's dispatchment of Rendonwell as a decree of my own. I do apologise for that.
No.
So there is confidence as I am a capable king at the very least with that. Although, to be honest, I spent probably 3/4 of my day in my father's old study just swinging his sword and singing his song. To put it bluntly.
Which will play a very important role in things to come, ensuring the stability.
Yes, I am not unaware of Samael's plans for everything, but there is reports from that young boy Aracles. I think that the Darkuls are trying to do something similar in Vindleton. And as he kind of points out the guy who's now kind of leaving, the one in the Favendale colours, so to speak. That is was I giving a name here? That is West Farad. It is it's difficult to say. Favendale has nobility, but They do
Yeah.
have the Fist of the Mountain.
The
And,
closest they have, I
yes,
take it.
and he is a advisor. They have had similar issues. They broke through into, I suppose, what you would call the true definition between just subterranean and world below, and found pathways to the ghouls that they have to seal up.
Right. Well, that is something of concern. I would very much like to send advisors of my people to aid them, although I do not know how willing some of them will be, at least, to
Lavendella.
accept them.
I reckon I could leverage it. I reckon I could leverage you a spot in the courts of Rindleton, but I do not know how much further I could get. Avondale is a beast.
You have enough things on your plate as it is. You do not need to trouble yourself with such matters on my sake.
It's young nobility to young nobility. It is tough, isn't it?
It is tough. Although, I must profess, I do find myself a bit more enamored with the idea of ruling than I suppose you were as a prince.
I thought I had another 100 years or so before my father would go. And there was a...
Just awkward,
Yeah.
look at the ground, like...
If I must be frank with you, as you're very close to turn, most people are keeping a clear distance unless everyone calls them over. There was a big part of me that actually, before it all happened, was bickering with Dad to abdicate the throne.
I know it doesn't quite mean much at this current stage of affairs, but I am sorry for my part in pushing such things upon you.
I am perhaps the king that is... I'm needed at this stage, I suppose. I do not know how I will take to it in the long run. It still is new to me, and I still find myself drained from court, very mentally exhausted, but
Yes.
some people make it easier.
At this stage, everyone is still looking to try and leverage you as best as they can. As you
When does
saw
that
just
stop?
before. I don't know if it ever does, you just get better at dealing with it.
I must send a letter to your mother to ask for notes on how to deal with this.
You met with the Stylus ambassador that came through.
I did. Vocatil Tarandin, I believe was her name. Very, very nice
Yes.
woman. Spoke very highly of your father. I did not realize he was such an accomplished military man.
He was quite, well, in his youth. He stopped such endeavors before I was born. But very well respected.
There was
As their whole family is.
a good conversation. Quarter seemed to get busier every day. I have petitions for the crown. I have people coming in with petty disputes of land and labour.
Of course. It is ceaseless work.
King's justice
but
must be paramount to the running of the country, I suppose.
Of course. And in this critical moment, Birten needs stability. But I think quite fortunately, you're probably the best candidate to bring it about.
I don't know about that. I think
You are a fair and even-handed ruler, from what I have seen. You take into account the best wishes of those around you and your people. That is, well,
You flatter
that
me.
will be required. I'm only telling the truth. But if there is anything that I can do to assist you in the functioning here,
well, Calicinda, to be frank, I do believe there is. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Do you wish to marry a Lothonian for me? As he just laughs into his cup at this stage. He's trying to not make any noise, but it's kind of like, in this moment, you're like two kids in school trying not to laugh, and the shoulders are just going. It's like,
yeah,
it's just like,
just looking. Is he nearby, the Lithonian?
yeah,
So,
he is. He is.
Yeah. Just try and just like look over there. Just
Yeah.
try and not make eye contact, but just like giggle in the room. Like,
Yeah, the two of you. There's a few like scoffs and like, oh, it's just so immature.
I find myself very fortunate that my little expedition here to the surface has dodged the whole troublesome issue of marriage and all that. Well, I'm sure if I returned to the world below in a heartbeat, my mother would try and sort out 1,000 suitors for me to choose from, or probably not even choose from, just probably line them up and select them.
Political gain. One must produce a lineage.
One must. One must.
I don't really
But
get the appeal, but I suppose.
that is fair.
You're a good conversation, Calicindia. I did not know that I would find such agreeable conversation with as he kind of met my father's assailant.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm sorry that we had to meet under such circumstances. I did plan in my journeys through Birten to eventually make my way here and have a formal introduction, but unfortunately, I was waylaid before then.
it's all right.
But
If anything, my father's reign can be tracked to one key principle, and that was unity. Unity among elf and man, tiefling and man, of all facets of humanity. And if it's all I can do for his legacy, is to create unity between us and one more people, I will have done his name and memory justice, and I know he will greet me with a smile in the great beyond.
absolutely. And as far as I can tell, you are doing that exceedingly well. Even if it does involve marrying a Lothlorien.
Can we do a, if I do one, you do one situation? As the giggles continue again, and that's where we're going to end today's court. As I do notice the time. That was fucking fun. That was a lot of fun.
I like that. That
was a lot of fun. We got a little bit of time. I'm not in a rush. So let's talk about what we just went through. And if people in chat have moments to talk about people they like, scenes they like, don't hesitate to jump in. I hope that was entertaining. This was a new test of format for us, and that was a hell of a lot of fun.
It was fun just to take my time with this sort of heavy NPC roleplay and just organizing stuff that would normally, during sessions, I would want to expedite and not really go into because it would slow down the session too much. So I thoroughly enjoyed it on that level because it meant I could just explore an area that I really want to get into with Calicindia, which is very much this political intrigue and planning and everything around the edges there. And honestly, like there was quite some major people that I met and connections that I met.
Yeah, this is a format that I really want to explore for, especially when you get to Ariel and you have people coming to your court in a more official way to really talk and see. So it's nice to feel that it went very well. So it's kind of since there's only two of us, we can probably do this fairly quickly, and then we'll get to kind of winding down. But let's do a favorite momenty kind of moment. So you met a lot of people today. What was your favorite encounter of the night?
Favorite encounter. Look, that is very tough. That is very, very tough. Arakos was interesting. Very much coming in there, a bit of a newcomer, I guess, to the whole court here in Birten, but very much trying to it's very sincere in his attempts. But look, Sevo Regin, that one there, that was, I think, my favorite. Actually, no, I think my favorite was the bumbling inventor, budding inventor of
the bumbling budding inventor
of Broxon Freetail.
Yeah, Gilded Gears, that's got to have a bit of competition, I guess.
Yeah.
But I love playing Savo Regime. Just the opposite competence. Savo as compared to Sava.
That was just beautiful. Such a just domineering type of character. You could tell that he is a power player and he has the confidence to bring it about.
Yeah,
Like,
he is.
He's not
He is
afraid
very.
to throw.
If I was to akin him to like a Game of Thrones character, he's like
He's Tywin Lannister.
he's Tywin, but more. He is more
Yeah.
bold than Tywin.
Yes. A bit more direct.
Yes, very much so. Like
Yeah.
still like he's still very cloak and daggery. Other than that, I really liked Canondeer. I liked finally introducing
Yeah.
a Jorkin that wasn't Corzith or Viola,
Corzith.
someone that's like more
Yes.
like just a sentinel, because like we'll see it in this week's D&D December stuff, but there's two sects and it's like the sentinels are far more laid back than the curators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is Corzith was very stuffy.
Corzith is a tough pill to
Canondeer.
swallow, but if you bring your ginger snaps, we'll see how it goes next time.
Yeah, look, and now Calasindia has prepared them, and we'll bust them out next session.
Unfortunately,
By the
Calacinder will
way,
bust out a
this is-
tin of cookies and open it up and it's just sewing kits. You're like, motherfucker!
They lied to me.
Oh, that'd be fucking hilarious.
But yeah, I'm curious, like, which one of the NPCs? Because you've said a few, but which is like a particular moment that stood out to you the most, or?
A particular moment is I loved when Savo mentioned the first possibility of in-character void dragon stuff. I loved that.
Yes.
I love doing that. Or
Yes.
probably name dropping Aura and the Rindle family. I just loved.
Okay. Name dropping Aura was just like a sweet, just like a sense of satisfaction, because now that I'm aware of her, I can actually in character have a reason to go through Lavoka on our way to the Lake Hethspire. It's
Yeah.
like okay. I've got a reason to pass through Lavoka. I've got a reason to meet up with Aura. It's not just an out of character. Yeah, you're good. But yeah, in chat, was there anything people enjoyed with that session in particular, or something a bit different?
Sorry, my cat is just coughing a lot and I want to make sure it's not the asthmatic one. It's just...
That's all right.
Yeah, he's okay. He seems to have a cough.
Just coughing.
I think he just breathes.
Just heavy breathing.
You okay, buddy? Yeah, he had a nightmare. He just woke up in a coughing fit. So
Aww.
just an odd buddy.
Poor little baby. Poor little
Yeah.
baby.
Just making sure he's like, you okay?
Yeah.
You good? Thankfully, I have emergency inhalers if he's not, but I'd just rather him be okay.
Yeah, rather than have to come to that.
Yeah, thankfully, if this was the asthmatic one, I would have been good evening, Aluna123. How are you today?
Hello.
Well, no,
How are you doing?
yeah, so would you believe, Raph, I only came in today with a list of names and attitudes.
Really? See, everything else is just on the spot.
This
I
is
like
just
that.
an
I like
improv
that.
solo bolo.
I will admit, like, I did not know what to expect.
But I kind of know what the Lorthonians vibe is. I kind of know what the Sentinels vibe is. I just had names.
Okay, I loved your whole rambling speech from Sevu about it, like about just the virtues of the void, just going on about it,
Well, I know the void, but it's like I know how he feels about it. So it's like, well, I didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I am lying and saying this is just pure improv because, like, I have hours and hours and hours, hundreds of hours of world building to back this up and be able to pull this stuff from. Like, I knew the names, I knew the characters, but the flow of the session, I was just like, here's a court roleplay with them. I've got these names, just do it. You know, just do it.
Yeah.
But
That was cool. That was
I'm
very good.
there's even some names we didn't get, like West Fard. Didn't get to speak with the Favendale representative. But everyone else, I kind of like. I think you got through most people that I had at court ready because I didn't want to put too much in there.
Yeah, because I wanted to hit like most of the people. The Broxon is someone I'm glad I didn't miss. I'm glad I didn't skip over.
Yeah.
Because
Well, there's a
that
few
could
more
be-
like smaller names. Like there were some representatives from the Vasa you didn't get to meet, and there was actually a representative from Arvergrad which you didn't get to meet.
Oh. Well, look, that's future sessions of Cal's Day at Court. But I think for now, like, it was just a good introduction
That's
to all
very
of the
good.
people there.
Mm.
Even just as well, just the first time Calcinder and Everett being able to have like just a one-on-one conversation between the two of them.
I just love that
as well.
school kid fucking giggling as he's like,
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
you want to marry a Lorthonian for me?
Which is curious because, like, I wonder now if Servo's going to be like, okay, Calicindia. All right, it's got like a tick in my book. Which I'm really curious about what Severogin thinks of Calicindia now in terms of potential.
It's a curious one, isn't
like,
it?
It is a curious one. It is a curious one. And I think that's going to be a very interesting relationship down the line, because I know that Calicindia has certain thoughts that he wouldn't exactly say up front.
Yeah, it's
But at the same time recognizes how powerful and within Birten this person could be. As well as also it's like, okay, you're studying the void? Curious. I want to know more. I think you're going too far, but very curious to know more.
yeah, it's
which yeah.
I liked it.
Look,
I liked it a lot.
Studying and the mention as well of tracing two more
Yeah,
old gods. Like, I'm guessing that's the Dawn Watcher and the Matron, as they.
it is not.
So you're telling me that there are two more Great Old Ones on this side of the world, Des?
I am.
Do I know them? Like, are they part of the list that I know of?
Who knows?
Come on, Des. There's like 30 names on there. There's like 40 names. Just even if you say yes, there's still 40 different gods it could be.
When you eventually hear of them, you will hear names that are the cultural names of Quenthus, so it doesn't matter if I say if they're on the list or not. It could be another Dying God Guiding Light situation.
True. However, you could say them, and that would be like, oh, that's kind of cool.
I could. I'm not going to.
God damn it, Des. Why did you just, why do you taunt me so?
Look, I get you, like, the Guiding Light is done, I have to give you something else to theorize now.
Yes, but, like, I need something to go off, because, so, like, if they're on the list, then I know that I can at least...
They might be.
Like, at the bare minimum, do I know of them out of character? Because I can't exactly have a crackpot theory if I don't know them.
But to be fair, you didn't know the Dying God, and you still formed a crackpot theory.
True, but I had a lot to go off there with the Guiding Light.
They are on the list.
Okay. But
the reason we haven't tracked them, because I can reveal this, it doesn't matter, we're not going to really get to it too much. They're in the Undaria Isles.
There we go. Good old Undaria. The good old Undies.
Down under. Down Undaria.
Down under. Okay, so it's the spirit of fire, water, air, and earth.
But no, I had a lot of fun today. I hope people have fun watching.
Yeah.
This is the last little bit of the stream where we're going to do a little bit of shameless shilling. If you like what you saw today, please consider following the channel, like by Firelight and Raymoari. I don't know how to pronounce that. Thank you for following today. This is where we're going to wrap up. This month for December, happy December, by the way. Happy holidays. We're doing D in December. We're over on our Patreon for $5 a month. We're releasing a subclass every week and a race or a sub-race every week for 5 subclasses, 4 races, and 1 sub-race. We've already done 3 this week. This Thursday we'll be putting out another one which will feature the Jorhakin, which you saw today, and the actual breakdown of what makes a Sentinel versus a Curator. So go check out the Patreon if that's within your means, or if you want to support us otherwise on Twitch, if you don't want to click off, because I know links in chat are scary, you could always subscribe to the channel if it's within your means. We very much appreciate it. Subscribing to the channel does give you access to our world advert, where you can see a lot of how the stuff that you need to play in the world, although we do need to update our notable character section, because that's probably something that could be worked on, but there's a lot of stuff in there that in theory you could start running a game in our setting today if you so wished with the world anvil. We got maps, we got cool stuff. Other than that, thank you so much. Thank you for the raiders for sticking around. I see we've still retained a lot of huts, so I hope you're listening. I hope you had a good time. Say bye in chat. We're gonna raid out today. All of our usual raid candidates are done. We don't normally stream of a Tuesday, so if someone wants to shout out somebody to raid, that's cool. If not, I see someone is doing Curse of Strahd, which is just a cool mod.
Warboss Tusker, who's doing D&D. They're painting models, actually.
One second, what's this one doing? Curse of Strahd. Yeah, someone's playing Curse of Strahd. Curse of Strahd is a great module for D&D. I think it's very interesting to watch. Anyone can jump in. So we're going to go ahead and raid them and see how that goes. Other than that, though, thank you so much for sticking around. We will see you again on Friday, where we're going to continue our recap series, and we'll be back shortly on Friday, very soon. And I hope, if you're not here then, I hope you have a great holidays, happy Christmas, whatever you celebrate. We'll see you, though. Bye.
See you guys.